You're listening to the Spend 10K a Day podcast, brought to you by the performance marketing experts at Mute6. This is your source for cutting-edge insight into the world of online advertising from the team with more Facebook case studies than any other agency on the planet. Here are your hosts, Steve Wise and Stuart Anderson.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another great episode of the Spend 10K a Day podcast. Today I'm here with two amazing guests, my co-host Suzanne Margaret Cobo, and an awesome guest that we're bringing on the podcast today, Chad Rubin, a longtime e-commerce veteran who's been in the trenches of growing e-commerce brands. For how long, man? Like 9 years, 8 years, Chad?
It's been almost a decade.
Decade worth of e-commerce experience that he's going to share with everyone on how to grow exponentially your e-commerce brand. He runs a company called Think Crucial, which is a vacuum company. And he also runs, an ERP solution or a back-end supply chain solution called Skubana. Chad, thanks for coming on today, man. I'm glad that you escaped the snowstorm in New York and are in safe grounds in Austin. Tell us a little about yourself, man. What are you excited about for this year in the wide world of e-commerce?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Austin is beautiful right now while it's snowing in New York. I just had a nice taco, and it's about 75 degrees outside, so can't complain. And so in the e-commerce world, I'm excited about a ton of things that are happening in e-commerce. E-commerce is roughly about 10% of all retail sales, and it's continuing to grow. And with that, there's a lot of areas for disruption still to go direct to consumer and to essentially disrupt traditional incumbents that have just been multi-generational brands for decades.
Cool. So being that you're in the vacuum space, which is a really unique space, how do you compete in a space that there's a lot of brand competitors that have been there for a long time? Like there's so many vacuums, that have been in the space for a while. Like how do you, from a brand perspective, whether you're running paid ads on search, which are intent-driven search ads, or whether you're running obviously any discovery-based Facebook, or even you're doing Amazon, like how does a brand like yours compete in a very, in an old school space in the vacuum world?
Sure. So I just want to clarify, right? We started off as Crucial Vacuum with a Magento site. We then started Think Crucial, which is every home appliance part and accessory that could break in the home, we manufacture. So we have over 1,000 products across like 25 different verticals. So to answer your question, just specifically around vacuums, because how I started was my parents had a vacuum store. They were going out of business. I started helping them sell on the internet. In the old days, we were using Front Page. Then we went to Microsoft, or then we went to Volusion. And so what I've found is that the largest incumbents have massive structural disadvantages in their distribution model, right? That's really the key. And since they're so large, and since they're sort of they have so much, I would say, channel conflict, that they are just indifferent. And so indifference to me is a massive advantage in my favor.
Interesting. So when you say indifference, what can you do from a flexibility perspective? Obviously, you can move a lot faster than them. I think when you are, and this is it's a really interesting topic, because I think, when you look into launching an e-commerce brand, of how you can move quicker than your competitors. Just give us a couple examples of how you moved quicker and how you had a big advantage or an unfair advantage because of the speed to market, when it comes to e-commerce.
Okay, awesome. So firstly, I'm an anomaly. So we have roughly about, on a gross revenue perspective, we did about 12 million last year in the e-commerce world. And we have one employee in the United States.
Wow.
So the way that that's done is that you have a proper system in place. We're not talking about like a legacy, old school, bulky ERP system, right? We built software to run and automate our business, which is, of course, I'm the co-founder of Skubana. So we sort of two ways, right? We first optimize our life. We then find technology that we can use to automate what it would take human labor weeks or months to do. And then we outsource all of our weaknesses to freelancers that can accomplish the job far quicker and better than we can do ourselves. And so we're fully remotely distributed. Everything is sort of automated or outsourced, including fulfillment, pick and pack. And so we can focus on really building our brand. Like, again, we have 1,000 SKUs. We're probably moving faster than Amazon's private label business, Amazon Basics, right now, when it comes to actually launching new SKUs.
Wow, that's crazy. So I guess I'm just trying to think. So you are an anomaly. You're doing 12 million in revenue and you have one employee.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I don't think there's a lot of brands that could aspire to being a $12 million plus brand with one employee. So if you were to give some tips to, e-commerce store owners of how could you become more efficient? Like, how could you cut the cost of your supply chain? Like, what would you give? Like, how could you leverage freelancers? Like, what tips would you give to like a store owner that's already has an established store, but really wants to figure out how can they become more efficient? If that makes sense.
Yeah. So how can you become more efficient? I think everyone's asking themselves that. And the first thing before even going into outsourcing, because most people think of outsourcing, they're like, they want to get more stuff done. And when I think of outsourcing, I want to get my stuff done first. In order to get my stuff done first, you need to really optimize and think about where you're spending your time. Time is, you'll never get that back, right? If I lose $1 million last year, I can always make $1 million the following year, but I certainly won't be able to get that time back. So I start creating a list of a bucket list, and I don't want to curse, but an effort list, right? So a bucket list, an effort list, all the things I like to do, the things I hate to do, the things I want to do. And I start making these lists and finding out where I'm spending my time, where I just shouldn't be, and then figuring out how I can actually have someone out taking that off. So subtraction becomes more important than addition in the onset of actually getting more efficient.
So Chad, was outsourcing that element that was able to save your parents' vacuum business, or what was that element that really turned that around when you went to the internet?
Oh, I mean, that element was the fact that the internet opened up a massive pool of customers that they were only achieving in like a small town of New Jersey. So, but they were just a reseller. So for me, it's all about solving a problem. I was like, wait a minute, why do I need to buy a vacuum filter from a genuine brand, like say Dyson or Hoover, and resell it when I can actually go and manufacture that filter myself, cut out the bloat, cut out the middleman, give a far better experience from shipping, free shipping, right? Free returns and live chat and expert advice off of our website. So that was like the initial days. So outsourcing really was achieved for me when about 2013, I was running a warehouse with about 20 or so employees. And I knew that that wasn't my core competency, right? I didn't go to college to run a warehouse like that. I just couldn't do it. It was a weakness of mine, right? I'm not going to lie. It was a weakness. And I found a way to actually outsource that. And we have a third-party warehouse that does that for me. Even though it cut into my margins, it opened up time, which allowed me to expand my business faster than being stuck in the weeds of running that business.
Interesting. That's really interesting. So let's go into like if you want to start a new company. If you're starting a company in 2018, obviously, Chad, you have a wealth of experience. But if you're starting a company now and you're a brand new e-commerce brand, what are you focusing on? Like what? Not even just like from a marketing from a marketing angle, but what are you focusing on the back end of your business of building this amazing supply chain? Like, what are you what's the first thing besides, finding the product, getting the product in, from China, getting the product wherever? What are you focusing on as like the core areas that that's going to allow you to scale business?
Exactly. So I think the biggest mistake sellers are making that are starting businesses today is not being a systems thinker. So it's kind of like an afterthought. They don't think about their system. They don't think about the foundation so they can build on that foundation. I think that's a mistake that I made early on was, okay, I was running this warehouse. I was doing everything myself. I didn't have any software or technology, which can really be a competitive advantage to win. I didn't think about that until 2013, 2014. And then I found that there was nothing else out there that there's no softwares that we can use to run a business of my size. That was about 20 different channels all in one place. And so hence we started Stubana. So I think the first piece is just thinking about the foundational element of your business, making sure you sort of dot all the I's and cross the T's so you can actually have a foundation so you can scale.
Use the word scale. As a marketer, we come from the two totally opposite areas. And I know you're good at marketing, Chad. You think like a marketer, but you're definitely more systems related, building, back end platforms to sustain e-commerce brands. But, being a marketer, I'm always thinking about scale. We talk to partners who reach out to us who we're working with, and they're like, well, we've run out of products. And as a marketer, I'm always like, wow, that's great. We've sold, tons of products, and now, we've oversold. And I guess the big question I have is, how do you overcome that problem if you're an e-commerce brand, making sure that you never oversell product and you always keep that customer experience and that journey, very sacred. I tell everyone I work with, make that customer journey and that customer experience a sacred element of your business. Put that first and really cut, and then people will come back. People really, really appreciate that. And I guess if you're advising these early stage businesses from your vantage point, how are you keeping that customer journey sacred?
Sure. So I can tell you how I've figured out that keeping that customer journey sacred. So we started a Volusion site, then we started selling on eBay, then we started selling on Amazon. And in the Amazon marketplace, there's about 5 million Amazon sellers. And in order to stay healthy on Amazon, you need to comply with Amazon's benchmarks and policies. Amazon's mission is to be the most customer-centric company in the world. So if anybody, I think Amazon cares so much about the customer experience that they force marketplace sellers to actually to level up to where they're at. And that's really how I started really thinking and considering customers. And we had an issue where we actually oversold on Amazon, 100 different products. And it's a problem. And at that point, think about it. Think about the experience that you give to an Amazon customer if you have to go and cancel 100 different products that someone ordered. Amazon hates that. And so Amazon suspended me for that. And that's exactly when I started really building up processes. It hurt. Amazon suspended me. It was 50% of my revenue. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And we appealed it, and we created systems in place to make sure it never happens again. So that's something that really comes close and very dear to my heart, where we actually had that same problem. And it certainly is not a good look when you have to cancel on clients or even change the estimated time frame of delivery because you don't have it in stock.
It's interesting. All right, and that's a really good segue. So, we run a lot of Facebook ads, and we see that there's crossover attribution between the Facebook ads you're running and sales on Amazon. I think it's a given that people are going to see your Facebook ad and purchase on another platform. Facebook's a discovery-driven traffic channel, whereas Amazon and Google are more intent-driven. If you're giving advice to e-commerce brands, how do you balance off the sales and marketing you do on both Amazon as well as Facebook in your mind? How do you build a strategy that you're, from a supply chain perspective, that you're kind of making sure that you have product available for both sides, if that makes sense?
So I think I could be wrong with I'm making sure I understand your question correctly. So right now, I think it's all about picking the channel you sell on. So for me, if I sell home appliance parts and accessories, and let's just say we're having a beer together in New York, and maybe after our beer, we both go our separate ways and we take an Uber. And in that Uber ride, I open up Facebook. The last thing that I want to see when I open up Facebook and really zone out of the world is a vacuum filter, right? A dirty vacuum filter saying, hey, here's a coupon for it. So I think that merchants in general and retailers and brands have to really choose their platforms very wisely. Not all platforms are created equally. And so for me, Facebook on vacuum filters may not do well, but maybe coffee filters and having a beautiful coffee filter that solves someone's problem. We make reusable filters for these third wave coffee brands. So we manufacture replacement parts to fit the Chemex or the AeroPress, some of these Kalita wave filters. So that might be a great market for me to tap into on Facebook, but some other products wouldn't. So segmenting products, and then of course making sure that not only the top of the funnel, but the bottom of the funnel is secure as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's interesting. You look at it a little bit different than I look at it. I look at, if I look at your store, you have over 1,000 SKUs. I'm looking into the data. I'm trying to figure out which SKUs are going to be hero products. Which SKUs appeal to the masses? Which SKUs can we run as an ad top of funnel? We look at what is the hero products? How can we build messaging specifically around the hero products to bring people into the funnel? They might not even buy the hero products, but they're going to buy other ancillary products, and they might be long-term LTV customers. So, Facebook's discovery, getting back to Facebook's discovery platform, I always say, really figure out and understand what are your hero products. What products appeal to masses? What products can we build content around that's going to positively disrupt the users, on a mobile news feed? And then how do we execute on that? And I think that's something that we're always trying to look into and really understand is, hero products and then creative. Those are the two things that if I'm looking at one of your sites, I'm like, what can we do here?
Right. So what can we do? I'm just curious from your perspective. This isn't an interview. We are hiring, right? What do you see? Like, what's the criteria that would make something a hero product for me on Facebook? Because I actually haven't been able to figure out to really hack Facebook.
Yeah, so hero product is, number one, a product that fits a lot of different audiences. Wide audience targeting. So this product could be, just as usable to someone in Central Texas as it is to someone in Boston. It could be used by both men and women. It could be used by, several, and also on your website, it's one of the most popular products. It's got the best reviews, et cetera, et cetera. Number two, that's what we think of as a hero product. Number two, obviously, we're looking at creative. What kind of creative can we leverage that's going to get shares, comments, likes, that's going to get social proof on the newsfeed? So can we take this product and feature it, in a specific type of video, maybe a GIF, maybe a cinematograph, maybe a 30-second digital short, maybe a viral video. There's so many different video types, or maybe we're getting some press on this hero product. If we do get press on this product, how could we feature that press? Do we run that press with mobile collection ads running underneath the press? It all goes back to like hero product plus creative. And I think if I'm, you have a finite amount of time, you have a finite amount of money. So if I'm looking at, your specific business, Chad, I'm going to say, what could we do to figure out creative and which hero products we want to focus our time on? And you can even look on the margin side. All right, that's the third area. We have hero product. We have a creative concept. Well, how much margin do I have on this product? And how much inventory do I have? If I have a lot of inventory, because you automatically assume that people are going to come to the website to buy your hero product, when in reality they might not. They might buy other products. But the goal of Facebook is not discovery product focused, but I always say Facebook's a discovery brand focused. People will they'll click on your product, but they'll discover your brand and buy other products from your brand. It's a brand. It's called, our Facebook team likes to describe it as brand response. And that's kind of how I'm tackling and building a solution to doing direct response ads for a business like yours. It has a lot of SKUs and might not have the most quote unquote sexiest products, coffee filters and vacuum filters. Some people,
right? It's not like Allbirds shoes, right?
No, it's that's fine. I mean, there's a market for Allbirds shoes and there's a market for vacuum filters, and I think that when people go to a website, they're going to come in for a reason, just like a shop, just like a store, just like how retail used to work. They might come into Walmart to pick up soap and milk, but you know what? They're going to buy shirts. They're going to buy other stuff while they're there. And I think kind of what I like to refer to as arbitraging intent, where you're arbitraging intent for one product to get them to buy other products on your website.
So when you're in your Uber car and you're on Facebook, then you see at the top of funnel, you see this video creative. And, when people go on Facebook, they want to be entertained. And so if you can capture at the top of funnel with video, entertaining them, then you can further push the sale down the funnel from people who have viewed that video or clicked on the website from that video, even though they didn't buy at the top of the funnel.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, and that's what I'm testing. Like if I'm in your shoes and I get like there's not a ton of you don't have a ton of resources. You don't have it from a creative perspective, from a video production perspective, even a campaign team. Like I'm looking for wins. I'm looking to figure out, from a ROAS perspective, what hero products can I use to generate, wins from a return on ad spend perspective on the platform. Because if you could spend, $500 to $1,000 a day at great profitability, that's a giant win. Am I right? Am I right, Chad?
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's massive. And I think I'm not looking for home runs. Like I don't need to be like Allbirds and, build a very social brand. But, I look at you and I say, hey, we can generate intent on Facebook. We could bring cool products that people can discover. We could hand choose them and curate them for specific people's feeds. And then we could literally build a funnel on the back end to really engage them and turn them into buyers. And maybe your angle is that, you're bringing people in with your hero products, and then maybe you're marketing the brand, more or less down funnel. You're saying, hey, get a specific discount code for the next 48 hours, and you have a stream of mobile collection ads running underneath the video of the discount code. There's so many different ways to turn that intent into a buyer.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it offline for sure. I'm interested.
Yeah, but that's I think when you think of a multi-SKU e-commerce, brand or product, really, I think that's the key to really understanding, direct response, is to really understand that you're going to have products that are popular. You're going to have products that fit multiple needs, and you're going to have your best products that fit multiple solutions. So really be thoughtful about leading with your hero products and figure out which those hero products are, and then have variables based around, what a hero product is. Obviously margin, supply, creative, that's all stuff I'm looking at when I'm selecting hero products to run top of funnel.
Got it. Cool.
And I think from there,
what do you think about so in terms of like landing page, like when you click on that ad for the bottom of the funnel, like I'm seeing people that are either driving straight to a specific landing page. So there's some people that are using ClickFunnels. It's less of the brands that I'm seeing that are using that, but there are people that are using that. Like, do you have any suggestions there?
I would say if you have multi-SKU e-commerce, I'm trying to get them to make a purchase in the store. If you're, under 10 products, I would definitely use a ClickFunnels or an Unbounce. It really depends on how many products. Remember, the more stuff you put them through, the less focused they're going to be.
Yep.
So if you have a long sales cycle on an expensive product, say you have this magical vacuum that could also walk the dog or something, and you have this magical vacuum, and you have a whole sales cycle for this. It's a $5,000 vacuum. That's what's going to need a landing page, because then you're going to have to really build social proof for that one specific product. But the reality is that you want to give people with freedom of ability to go surf and play around with different products in your cart. And you could use, DPA ads. I mean, obviously, if you're bringing people in through discovery with your hero product, then you're marketing down funnel DPA. And you could do a whole bunch of cool stuff with DPA. Obviously, regular DPA and Facebook, used to require a product feed. Now, if the updates to the pixel, now you don't even need a product feed. And you could even do video DPA. There's so many different options with your product feeds. I think that's kind of where the evolution is on Facebook, is product feed, product feed, product feed. You could do DPA Instagram, DPA Facebook. You could do user-generated content in your product feed. There's so much cool abilities that you could really start playing around with.
Great.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to hearing more. You got me really interested.
Yeah, man. There's the wide world of Facebook. I think what the beautiful part is when you're an Amazon seller is that Facebook will feed your Amazon store. There's so many people that really just want to purchase on Amazon. It's convenient. They have Amazon Prime, and even if you can just break even on Facebook, you're going to see a massive positive growth in your Amazon store. And I think a lot of brands are starting to really figure out how to intertwine both their Facebook spend and their acquisition strategy on Facebook with their Amazon store strategy. So it's coming. I think that it is what I'm really excited about for 2018 is really really building out longer term multi-channel strategies. I think as a team, as a marketing agency, we're really thinking about multi-channel and omni-channel a lot more now, because we know that Facebook is just one massive piece, should I say, of the puzzle.
So,
yep.
Chad, I have a question for you. With e-commerce, you had this vacuum business, or you were working with e-commerce. And how did Skubana come to fruition from that? Was there a problem in that process of bringing that your parents' business online that brought Skubana to life?
Yeah, I mean, so we were using like all these disparate solutions and they wouldn't talk to each other. So if you have someone using a shipping software, you have someone using an inventory software, you have someone using an analytics software, you've got a serious problem. So if you're going to build a true system where everyone has like a common language that they work with, you want everyone on the same page, and you want to get as granular as like when you print a shipping label, that shipping label is a part of your profit on that SKU. And so you have this intelligence now that you can work with. So anyway, we didn't have that. So really we were like eating our own dog food that we created. And so the problem was, how do I find a software to run and automate my business? Why does it have to be this way? And I think with any product that anyone's solving, whether it's a software product or it's actually a product, like a physical product, you're like, wait, let's solve a problem where like people have these oh crap moments. Why does it have to be this way? And let's see how we can actually make it better.
Cool. So I know a lot of most of the clients we work with, they work off of Shopify. So how does that fit into Shopify, and how does that differ?
Yeah, so Shopify is a shopping cart, but you still need to be able to forecast, demand plan. Sure, maybe it's easy if you have one platform, even though Shopify doesn't have purchase orders, Shopify doesn't forecast. Like we have a lot of the larger Shopify Plus merchants using our software. So what happens is that once your business starts to get larger and you start to really scale, then complexity starts to arise. You're like, wait a minute, now I'm selling on Amazon and I'm selling on Shopify. So I have velocity coming in from both channels. How do I run my business? So in Skubana, for example, we pull in your velocities from all those channels, and we will actually create you a purchase order awaiting approval based on your velocity, based on your lead time, based on your min. So we become like the backbone of your business.
So my guess is this Skubana probably integrates with all these different channels.
Yeah, so I'm on 20 different channels right now. Amazon, eBay, Sears, Rakuten, Newegg, Walmart, Jet, Groupon, Wayfair, Overstock, Shopify, Magento. So we're on all these channels, and we need to manage it with a platform. Right? And now a lot of these direct-to-consumer, what we call digitally native brands, are now starting to sell to brick-and-mortar stores. So we support like Shopify point of sale. You can ship out of your Shopify retail location using Skubana as well. You can manage that inventory. You can replenish it from your 3PL to Shopify. So we overcome a lot of these obstacles for these large D2C brands to help them run more effectively and more efficiently.
Cool. So it's like this web of channels like meets at Skubana.
Yeah, think of us like the central nervous system, right? We become like the operating system of your entire business that becomes the master that actually controls all the different moving parts. So we do shipping any way you fulfill, including 3PL. We do inventory management, juggling across all your different warehouses, including Amazon's warehouses. We have all the automation for purchasing. And the result of that, the why, the Simon Sinek, the why we exist is our analytics. So we put everything together in one place so you can run and see every single metric in your business in one platform. And you can actually make decisions about your business within seconds versus having employees pull together VLOOKUPs and patching together all these different spreadsheets.
So then you can see like, okay, I'm getting more sales from Facebook, I'm getting more sales from Amazon. Like you can kind of compare all the different channels and see, yeah, that's cool.
And then you can see like, is Facebook more profitable for you or is Amazon? Which SKU is contributing to that profitability on Facebook or on Amazon? And you can see every single fee that's part of that, including your first and first out cost of goods sold. That's
great. I think that's absolutely needed.
Interesting. Well, I think it's. Sorry about that. I think that's all the time we have right now. But really appreciate, Chad, that you coming on and kind of sharing some of your thoughts on the supply chain. I think we both shared a little bit of treasure troves with how to formulate an e-commerce plan for omnichannel. Is there any parting shots that you'd like to add, or any follow up thoughts that you'd like to add before we wrap things up?
I mean, I think it just comes to, I think if we're talking about sellers that are just starting, it comes to solving a problem. And if you're a more advanced seller, it comes to having a system. And I think that really separates a lot of the haves and the have-nots in the internet retail space right now, is having a system that they can automate to scale very, very quickly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think from a marketing perspective, having a specific solution that you're bringing to the market, will make your life a lot easier when you're trying to sell a product. I wouldn't even go deep into your competitors. I would try and figure out the problem that you want to solve, then really focus on your business. I look at a lot of companies that really are focused on their competitors, and I don't think that's very healthy when you're super focused on other people outside of what you could do. And I always give people the advice that focus on making your offering and making your user experience and making your customer journey the best, and then you'll start seeing the results. And I think that's kind of how I've always run my agency, is just being able to focus on us. I think there's a lot of other great agencies who do amazing work, but you can only focus on what you can control.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, a lot of learning for me happens outside of industry. Like, instead of looking at my competitors, I look at other people that are actually doing a good job outside. Like, if I'm in the vacuum or air purifier or the appliance part space, I might look at what, Bonobos is doing, or what ModCloth is doing, or what other companies that have much larger budgets are doing in a different space. And I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. I'm just learning from them and seeing what they like. I buy from them, I test purchase. Even I just buy just to shop, just for fun. For personal use, and I looked at where they're shipping, how they're shipping, what is the collateral that they put inside the box, what does their retention marketing look like. All those things are super helpful to me and help me develop my brand even further.
Totally. I mean, I think that's another conversation of really doing brand and customer research as well as product research. But that's all the time we have today, man. Really appreciate you jumping on the podcast, and let's be in touch. Coming up soon, we have some amazing podcasts next week. Next week, we're digging more into the future of DPA ads on Facebook. So it should be an interesting talk. Thanks for everyone listening today, and we'll be in touch soon.
And if you want to learn more about Skubana, Chad, where can they go to check that out?
They can go to Skubana.com. They can find me at chad@Skubana.com. I'm certainly not hard to reach.
Awesome. Great. And then if you're listening to this podcast and you really like it, let us know what you think. Leave us a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear from you.